This morning we've got a couple of political commentators who'll talk us through the sort of twists and turns of the election campaign over the last week and what we're likely to see next week. Worth bearing in mind, postal votes have already arrived and are being posted currently. So a good chunk of the voting population, something like 20%, have postal votes and will already be casting their ballots.
One of the factors when you get to polling day is the weather. Simple, very simple. We don't know what it'll be like on July the 4th. I'm not going to ask Darren, but we do know that the weather is picking up.
Look at this
over the next few days. The parties like good weather, don't they, Darren? Because it gets people out. If the
Please don't ask me about the weather forecast for polling day. I'm not allowed to talk about that anyway. But we've got no idea. The weather's going to change later in the coming week, but in the next few days it really is warming up.
And ABBA, this is Bjorn Ulvaeus, I could pronounce that incorrectly, I'm sure, of ABBA, saying that when they were formed, they wanted to be called Northern Lights. All the group wanted to be called Northern Lights.
Right.
They had ABBA foisted on them by other people, and they all hated the name and still do.
Still hate it?
Yeah.
But look at how well the
look how well they've done.
I noticed this in the Sunday Times this morning. It's an interview that they've looked at with Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen. People will remember from Changing Rooms. And he's basically recommending intergenerational living. He's saying we're living in a situation at the moment where, often not always, but you might have older parents living in the old family home, so they've got effectively spare bedrooms, and younger people in their 20s really struggling to pay rent. So the situation they're in now is that they are living at home with their 2 children, 2 sons-in-law and 4 grandchildren aged between 7 and 6, and they're loving it. He says they enjoyed being together so much during the pandemic that they decided to kind of stick with it. And he says particularly when younger people these days are really struggling to pay rent, really struggling to get on the property ladder.
Absolutely. Gives them a place
now, I'm
to
at a stage in my life where I cannot wait to get rid of my children.
Don't worry, they're not going to be watching.
The idea that I'm having them for the next 10 or 20 years doesn't really work for me.
No.
And I'm sure they're equally desperate to get out of the house as well. But I love that it's working for them. So I don't know if it works for you. You can let us know this morning at BBC Breakfast.
You're assuming, of course, that your children would want to stay living with you.
No chance.
Yeah, I'm sure lots of people will echo that. Right, let's move on. Anyway.
Another name is being investigated, Roger. The Gambling Commission reported to be looking into a 4th Conservative who is alleged to have placed bets on the date of the general election.
Less than 2 weeks now, remember, until people watching at home decide who gets to represent them in this building behind me, who forms the next government. But as you say, this story isn't going away. Just a reminder, we have a 4th Conservative reportedly being looked into by the Gambling Commission over alleged bets placed on the timing of the election. A writing in the Sunday Times saying it looks like one rule for them and one rule for us. The perception that we operate outside the rules that we set for others. That was damaging for Partygate and is damaging here.
Constant sunshine and a beach full of bars. It was Jay's first holiday abroad without his parents, and this is something every parent fears. Now, even teenagers are wary.
Obviously, it's a bit shocking. I think all our families are a bit shocked, a bit scared.
Very worried about us coming here after that news.
But we did make sure, like, once we heard about it, you know, we're going to always be together. No one's going alone. We were making rules. We were making rules.
Friends was fine.
We got here the same day as he went missing, and I've seen like a lot of conspiracy lists, and most of it doesn't really add up, to be fair.
This time last week, Jay was enjoying himself with thousands of other people here at Playa de las Americas at a 3-day music festival. Then, in the early hours of Monday morning, he came to this bar to an after party and left with 2 men and took a 40-minute car journey to a winding mountain road. Why did he decide to do that? They say they don't comment on ongoing investigations.
The high pressure has also sparked storms in some areas where power supplies were knocked out, and in New Mexico where heavy rainfall came to the aid of firefighters battling 2 wildfires. We might hear from Peter a little bit later on, but not just at the moment.
No. What we will do is show you this picture, which is on the front of quite a few of the newspapers this morning and inside most of them as well. Taylor Swift grabbing a royal selfie ahead of one of her gigs at Wembley.
Yeah, she was posing with the Prince of Wales on his 42nd birthday, along with 2 big fans, apparently, Prince George and Princess Charlotte. Kensington Palace posted this picture on X, formerly Twitter. And then Taylor posted another one with the caption,